Hello fellow survivors, and welcome to my main base in my main interloper run, which is over 1000 days survived, as you can see here, run day 1006. And you might be wondering what the main base looks like of someone who survived this long. What do you store in it? What does it have? What does it look like? Well, this is my main base. It is here in Trapper's Cabin in Mystery Lake. This has been my main base ever since this run started back in January of 2020. It is a good location. It's small, but it has everything you need. It has a workbench inside. It has rabbits out here. It has deer that spawns over here. A moose spawn that's rare over here. Bears nearby. Wolves nearby. Inside this cave up there is a coal. It doesn't have easy access to a outdoor cave though, if I wanted to get rid of cabin fever, which I seem to be at risk of right now. But other than that, it's a good base. Retrospectively, if I had to choose a base again, I would have chosen the camp office rather than this base for this particular run. The reason being that this particular location in this run does not have a bear spawn. It also does not have a moose spawn. In Mystery Lake, there can be 4 places where there is a bear. It can be here in Trappers, it can be in Unnamed Pond, it can be here in Logging Camp, and it can be in the ice over here. And I have it here in Unnamed Pond and on the ice, which means that there isn't a bear in this region. So whenever I need a bear, I need to go up here and kill it and go back down. The moose spawn also on my run is up here by the dam. So if I want a moose, I need to go all the way up here. So in retrospect, it would have been more strategic to have my base here, because then I can easily access the fishing huts, the bear, and the moose. So I really should have moved it here, but I never got around to it, so I'm sticking here. So this is my main base. Just one disclaimer though, it is still possible, even though you have a moose spawn somewhere else in Mystery Lake, like I have it up here by the dam, it is still possible for the moose to spawn down here by Trapper's Cabin, because it's like a unique independent spawn. But it has only happened to me once in 1000 days. So in 1000 days, just once did it happen that I walked out of this cabin and I saw the moose out there. Other than that, the moose has never spawned. So what does the base look like? Well, let's start with the outside first. We have an array of campfires here with 5 cooking pots, and I have another 2 on me that I can use to make water, for example, and get some supplies for that, or cooking food. And I have, of course, all my food as well. I always try to have a lot of meat outside so that I can always return to this base and not worry about food or supplies. If I start to run out, I usually go and hunt a bear somewhere by Unnamed Pond or something like that, and harvest the meat and bring it back. We also have some rabbit snares, which I don't really use anymore because I have so many rabbits, but I mostly place them here to try and figure out where the line goes of catching rabbits. And I think it's something like over here. And I think this trap can catch a rabbit, but this one can't, so there's a line somewhere here. If you place the snares below this, you don't catch rabbits with it. Other than that, I don't really use the traps. On the back here, I have a little bit of a waste area. These are bows that are all ruined. I used to have a lot more, but I got rid of it, dumped them in containers to disappear, but I started collecting them again. And then we have a backup fire here in case the wind changes. And that's pretty much it for the outside of the base. It's pretty much just fire and food, and that's about it. So let's have a look on the inside. So this is what a 1000-day survival bay looks like in Trapper's Cabin, with all the resources collected almost in one place. I'm going to show you quickly around everything that is around here, and then I'll walk through what all this stuff is and why it's here and why I've done it this way. And as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff laying about, quite a lot of loot and resources. So this is where I return to whenever I need to do anything, really. So this is the main base after 1,000 days. Let's actually light up this so you can see better, and let's walk through it. First off, on the floor here, we have a bunch of pelts, moose hides and things, which are not really used for anything. We have extra bear pelts, which is used to repair the bear coats, which I wear, as well as the bedroll, which I also carry. And we have a lot of deer hide, wolf pelts, which I almost never use because I don't wear the wolf jacket, rabbit, and guts. The main bulk of saplings are also here, and as you can see, I have a ton of saplings left, so running out of arrows or bows is not going to happen anytime soon. We also have sticks and lots of coal and some other wood. This usually runs out whenever I do a cooking session and I go back and refill it. Lately I started collecting the recycled cans just because of the noisemaker edition, so I figured these could be useful for future use, so I just started putting them there. And that's about it, like the floor space here. And we can walk through the rest of the base. Let's start from the right. Here we have what's left of coffee and tea. Sometimes when I go on long expeditions, I carry one of these with me. If I'm going to like Timberwolf Mountain or Ash Canyon, somewhere that's a lot of ropes, then I often carry one of those with me, just in case. And it has come in handy once, where I almost died climbing up a rope in Ash Canyon, and I had one coffee that let me get all the way to the top. Other than that, that's all I have left. On this table here, you have a kind of like a trophy table. These fish here are the biggest fish I have caught throughout the run of each kind. So the salmon, for example, is 6.01 kilos. And you might have noticed that salmon, and I think it's trout, is it? They are saltwater fish, so they are not from Mystery Lake. I actually got them in Bleak Inlet and in Coastal Highway, and I carried it all the way here, which almost caused my death because the stench attracted a wolf that almost killed me. So this is trophy fish that I just used for that. This is gunpowder. I think one of them I found, but the other ones I made in Bleak Inlet because I leveled the, level gunsmithing to level 5 for no reason, and I made the gunpowder while doing that. And you can use it as accelerant, or I can use it to make noisemakers. But that's about it. Here we have some excess accelerant. Here we have a bedroll that I initially maintained as a backup, but I stopped doing it, so now it's just a memento now. Then we have our spare tools. So we have some extra hatchets here. There's some more hatchets here. So whenever one breaks, because I don't really have many whetstones left, so I just use these until they break, and then I replace them. We also have an extra hammer. So the hammers are actually spread around the world. I have one hammer here, but the other hammers are spread in specific locations where they are actually useful, and I keep track of that. So I have 7 hammers in total, or is it 6? I have one in Spencer's Farm, which is the forge I usually use in Fallen Muskeg. There's one in Ryken, there's one here. There's one in the fishing huts in Coastal Highway, there's one in the fishing hut in Timberwolf Mountain, and there's one in Bleak Inlet. So that's where those are the locations where the hammers are located in the world, that they actually are of use. And then there's an extra one here. We have flare guns. I ran out of bullets for these, or shells, in around day 120 or something. So these are not useful anymore. There might be one flare shell I have not picked up, but we'll find out another day. An extra mag lens probably will never be used, but we'll see. We have 3 rounds of revolver ammunition. These are from Hester Valley. You can actually find them still in Interloper. It's probably a bug, but they are there. And what you can do is you can harvest these. If you take these up and harvest them, you get the components to make a bullet, and then you can create a new bullet, and then you level your bullet making skills for absolutely no reason. Then we have excess flares. I don't really use flares anymore. Sometimes I carry one if it's a new area, just to be safe. But mostly this display. You have 3 can openers. Don't use can openers anymore either, because we're at this stage in the game where there is really no more food to be found, so we don't need to open any more cans, and if we do, we just use the knife. We have an extra Firestriker, that is 77, so that's going to be useful. And we have 5 extra hacksaws. I think I have one on me as well. I usually carry a hacksaw on me. And there's another hacksaw in the Riken, so I think I have 7 hacksaws in this game. Then we have these spray paints. They're not useful for anything. I just started collecting them for the fun of it. So that's it. We have the 4 jerry cans of the game. Every now and then, maybe every 300 days or something, I go out and I refill these cans. You go out and carry them in your inventory and go fishing, and then you refill them. And then I store them here. And whenever this storm lantern runs out of fuel, I pick one up, and then I refill it, and then I put it back. So they're quite handy to have. And we have a bunch of marine flares. These are also not really used. But if I go to Bleak Inlet or Blackrock, I usually carry 1 or 2 of them with me just in case, because it just makes teamwork a little bit easier. You have tools. You have 4 quality tools and 2 simple. I have more of these, but I have started spreading them around different forges. So ideally I want to have 1 quality tool wherever I also have the hammer, because then it's easier to make arrows. So these will be spread around in time. On here we have a collection of pry bars. I don't carry pry bars with me anymore. I do have one on me here now, because I'm going to go to Blackrock at some point and I'll be using it there. But other than that, I don't usually carry them anymore because they aren't really useful once you've opened everything in the world. So this is just a collection of pry bars now. Up here we have some excess food. Nearly all the food in the world has been eaten already way back in the day. But every now and then I find some food that I missed. So here's some crackers that I found and I just store them. I also found this drink not long ago, which I had missed, and I just stored that there. But that's pretty much all the food that's left. We have 3 extra storm lanterns. I think I have a 5th storm lantern somewhere else. I think it's in Timwolf Mountain maybe. So these are the excess lanterns you have. Then we have our excess clothing. So I have an extra moosehide satchel just in case the first one gets ruined. And then I have wolfskin coats. I don't use the coats because they're not warm enough. I use double bear coat because then I can go outside during the day and be warm. So I don't use the wolf coats. However, there's an exception. When you go to Bleak Inlet is so cold that you won't be warm even with everything fully repaired and double bear coat. So when I go to Bleak Inlet, I take these off and then I put on 1 wolf coat and 1 moose coat because I'm going to get cold anyway. So then I travel a bit lighter and I get a bit more protection. So I keep them for that. Then there's some wooden stuff, and then I have just a collection of teas I just stacked like this. These are almost never used anymore because with level 5 cooking you can't get food poisoning, you can't get parasites, so there's very rarely any use for these. Same with these meds here and that sort of thing, so they're not really used. Rose hips is sometimes used because I do every now and then I get stumped by a moose, and then I use the teas to cure the broken ribs. Yeah, so they are sometimes used. And my water collection is here in this corner. That's where I store my excess water. And then before we go into this one, here's the medicine kit. There's an antiseptic here, which is never used because I always carry the lichen on me instead, simply because this is lighter. So these are 0.1 kilos each, and I always carry 2 of these. Well, these, if they are full, is 0.7 kilos, so they're much heavier. So I don't use these. I use the natural one. In here we have a few backup things. I have some more bandages, only one really. Some birch teas, which is always handy in case you get attacked and need to heal more. I have an extra stim here. I have 2 on me, and one third one here. These are all the stims that are left in the game, although I haven't collected one in black rocks. I guess there's 4. And then some extra teas, and that's about it really. The stim is the extra one. I have not used the stim since day 400 in this game, so they are just there for contingencies now. Then finally, we have the lockers. These other are not used. Safe is empty, and this is empty. Although sometimes I store arrows, crafting stuff in here. But here is the main storage, and we keep a few things in here. For starters, these are the extra matches that I have. These are only the main matches, so there's quite a few of them left, as you can see, in addition to another Firestriker that I store. And if I actually keep extra matches in all of my regional bases too, so there are more matches than this. I actually have an overview in my log here. I forgot to check one of them, but as you can see here, I have 84 matches left in Trappers, plus the Firestriker. And then in all the other bases, I have 4 matches, except in Spencer's, there's none. And in Hunting Lodge, I can't remember. And there's none in HRV. And here's this 12 in Milton and 12 in Coastal Highway. So the total of that is, what's that? That's 88, 92, 96, 100, 112, 124, 127. So I have 127 matches left in total, plus a Firestriker and 2 mag lenses. So fire-wise, I am quite good. So yeah, and then we have these 3 books. These don't really do anything, but I have decided not to destroy them because maybe if I'm lucky, I can actually read these and I can get to rifle level 5, but I don't think it'll be enough, you see. I'm not quite level 4, and I need to go even higher to level 5, so I don't think it's enough. I did actually find a 4th book of these, but I burnt it. No medicine here, it's all a medicine cabinet, and then here I have my backup clothes. So for 1,000 days I have maintained these clothing items as backups, because these slots here are not replaceable. You can have 1 rabbit hat, but the other slot, you can't have 2 rabbit hats. So the other one is for these. You can't make socks, and you can't make inner layer ones. In retrospect, going forward, I'm not going to maintain this Mackinac jacket. I'm just going to let it deteriorate, because we don't really need it, because I can make the bear coats or whatever. And I don't think we need 4 of these either, because these are inner layer things. So therefore, whenever I get attacked or in a bad weather, they don't really take much damage. So I'm going to actually only keep 1 or 2 of these, and then these. I'm going to let the rest deteriorate. The issue is that I have to come back here every 50 to 80 days and repair these to make sure that they don't get ruined. So it's costing me a lot of cloth resources to do so. So I do recommend keeping backups, like some socks and hats and maybe a couple of these. But in principle, these top 3 ones here, I don't need anymore. I'm just going to let these get ruined and harvest them, and then I'll keep the rest of this. The rest of the rule tooks have been ruined. Then we have food. I always keep 6 cattails just as a backup. Worst case scenario, it gives me 1 night to sleep and recover health. And then we have our tool. This comes up twice. This must be I read one of them. We have our arrowheads in here, and I have way more arrowheads than this, but they are around the different forges. But in case I can do it, I have 178 bullets, which is absolutely pointless. But I just one day decided to level up gunsmithing for no reason, and I did it, and I made these bullets. But they are not in cartridges, so they can't be fired, even if I found a weapon. We have charcoal, which I still sometimes use, because I have mapped the entire world and have faith of a cartographer. But every now and then, there are some bits and bobs that are not fully covered. So, for example, if you go to Mountain Town, you can see there are a few patches that I haven't mapped properly. So every now and then I go out and I map something. Then we have the fishing tackle. So you'll notice a pattern here. These are all low condition ones. The reason that happens is because I make fishing tackles and they work like sewing kits. So I use these to repair clothing and craft things. But when they reach low condition, I put them in storage. The reason is that when you go fishing, the condition of the fishing tackle does not affect fishing success. So when you go fishing, you might as well use the low condition tackles, and if they break and the fish gets away, then so what? You lose a 3% tackle, right? So I just store them in here until I go fishing, and when I go fishing, I put these in, and then I take these out, and I go fishing with them. I do have a few sewing kits though, just because they are more efficient, so I do sometimes use these for crafting. I have an extra bow and a couple of extra arrows, and every now and then, maybe every, I don't know, 200 or 300 days, I go to a forge and I make some more arrowheads, but not very often. Usually you can harvest the arrows and make new arrows afterwards, but every now and then, you know, I lose an arrow somewhere and I can't find it. And then we have cloth. I have a lot of cloth left. There's also a lot more cloth in Coastal Highway and in Mountain Town, so I'm not going to run out of cloth anytime soon. It's pretty much only used to repair clothing items and making bandages, and that's pretty much it. So I use it to repair this, and these things here. I think you also need a cloth to repair this. Yes, so I do that as well, but it's, yeah. We also have cured leather, which is not really used for much except preparing the moosehide satchel, which isn't even that necessary. Scrap metal comes in handy because you use it to make tools and arrowheads, but you also use it to repair certain things. And then, of course, the feathers, which at some point you just get excessively much of. So yeah, this is all the stuff that's here. I always make sure that my base is well stocked whenever I leave it. There's always enough water, there's medication, there's shelter, there's repairs. Everything is there, so that when I come back from whatever I've been doing, I can always take the time to rest and recover here and repair and just collect myself. And I try to do that with all of my regional bases too, but with not as much as this. So yeah, so this is what a 1000-day base looks like in Interloper. It's just a collection of all the items I find that are not used. And at this stage in the game, when you reach day 1000, whenever you find an item, then it's an item that you've missed. Like, oh, I missed this drink, or I missed this beef jerky, or whatever. And when that happens, I pick them up, and then I take it back here, and I just store it here. And that's pretty much it. That's what a base looks like after 1000 days. So yeah, let's go up here, actually. Nice view of it. So, hope that was of interest. So that's what it looks like. I can always come back here as my safe haven to recover health, repair, and just get reoriented and resituated before I head out for a new adventure. And this is my home, and it's been my home in the Long Dark for 2.5 years now. So yeah, that's my base. Maybe let me know in the comments, what is your favorite base? Where do you like to have your base on whatever difficulty you play on? Where do you prefer it? I prefer it here. This is my favorite. Camp office is okay, but this is the best because it connects to everywhere in the world. So yeah, so that's my base. See you next time, survivors. Bye bye.